Closely, you may spot a venom-spitting Dilophosaurus.
It's Jurassic Park. The evil Nedry steals a baby Brachiosaurus, but an electronic hooting Dilophosaurus attacks him.
Look out!
Muldoon takes the capture copter to save Nedry.
Fire the net! Got him! Nedry's free!
But the stomping and roaring giant T-Rex spots an easy meal. Each sold separately. Look for the JP mark. It's happening, but only at Jurassic Park.
Hey YouTube land, Tychonders coming back at you with another action figure review, and today we're having a look at the Jurassic Park Classic 93 Classic from Mattel. This is the last of the ones that they've released as part of the 93 Classic line, and hopefully not the last, or well, the latest of the 93 Classic line, and hopefully not the last of the 93 Classic line. Because I would love to see certain other characters get the Kenner homage treatment, which is essentially what this line is. So this line is a nod back to the days when Kenner produced the action figures for movies. Most movies actually back in the day. They did Aliens, they did Terminator, they did Jurassic Park, they did Batman. Nearly every major movie that had action figures tied to it, Kenner were the crowd behind it. So this being the Jurassic Park one, this is a nod to some of the early Jurassic Park. So it's a mishmash of eras, because you have a raptor that is clearly inspired by Jurassic Park 3. You have Dennis Nedry, which is the name on the box, which is a clear inspiration of his character from the toy line and not the movie. We'll get into that in a minute. And then the bike, I'm not sure the origins for the bike. I was trying to look at the different bikes that were in the Kenner line, and I think the closest one it comes to is the one from, is it the Trapper bike from Lost World, I think. So you have kind of like an iteration of all three movies. So we will take a look at the box before we have a look at the figures. This set is actually a Target exclusive in the States. I pre-ordered it when it went up for pre-order many months ago, and it recently arrived, so they should be hopefully on store shelves in Target. I'm not sure how the distribution is in the States. As I said, I had to order mine from the States, got it in. I do know that the Smiths in Europe were carrying some of these lines. They actually have we here in Ireland have the Rex only, the Red Rex from this line, but the other Smiths had the other vehicles and figure sets that were actually released as part of this line or sub-line. So this is Dennis Nedry Track and Chase Pack. So if I flip around the back of the box is done as a complete homage to the original Kenner style packaging, which is so nice. You have that new classic Jurassic Park logo as opposed to the Jurassic World logo. You have the characters and contents interacting in the box. You have a contents list. You still have the Data Facts app for the dinosaur that is included in the box. And then there is some assembly required. You can even see actually, if I flip it around to the side that I didn't rip open, you can see the Jurassic Park logo. Now, one thing of interest or note, because I still manage somehow to have my older box from one of the previous sets, and this, if I just bring it in briefly, is from the Ian Malcolm set. So you can see the boxes are literally the same dimensions except for width. The box for the bike is actually a wider box. If I turn to non-damaged sides around, you can just about see that this is the bike one, this is the glider set. Again, they have the same things on the back in respect to the way it's portrayed, but you'll notice gone is the windowless box packaging for the previous sets, and they've brought back the window packaging so you can see at least one of the contents in the box, which is when it is packed up, the thing that is visible is the Velociraptor. So it is possibly there to hopefully discourage swappers, package swappers, or whatever you want to call them. The guys that buy stuff, bring them back to a shop that have the incorrect stuff in them, get their money back, so they're not losing any money and they're just putting in cheap dollar store knockoff figures. I think they call them part swappers. You'll see it a lot. I've seen it mostly in the States. I generally don't tend to see it over here in Ireland. Maybe it is prevalent in Europe and the UK, but I haven't seen it too much here in Ireland. They're a bit more stringent on how things come back maybe. But like what people would do, especially in the case of stuff like Marvel Legends with a Build-A-Figure part, that someone wants just the Build-A-Figure part, don't want the actual figure in it, they'll take out the Build-A-Figure part, bring it back to the shop saying it was damaged or not as described, lob in something that's not even a Build-A-Figure part or part of some other way older Build-A-Figure that was way more easier to come by, and then it's left on the store shelf for people to buy. And in the case of the windowless packaging, you should have picked up something that was totally not the same figure inside the thing, and the box might have been resealed. So that aside, waffling main ranting raffle aside, we'll have a look at the set. So it comes with one Velociraptor who is decoed to look like the Attack Velociraptor from Jurassic Park 3. No, unfortunately I do not have that one, but if you're familiar with any of those cheap dollar store knockoff Velociraptors, like the Chapney style Velociraptor, you will know that the mold was reused so many times from multiple raptors. It has a very distinctive look to it. It has a chunk taken out of its tail. Originally it would be electronic, but all the knockoff ones are non-electronic, and they were cheap and cheerful and all over the place. I think you can probably still get that mold in something, I'm not too sure which, but you will see that mold knocking around quite often, especially in dollar stores. You'll see like dinosaur packs with multiple dinosaurs. Is usually a Velociraptor, and it's usually that mold. The bike is quite a nice bike. It is actually, if I just take out off the pieces that come separate in the box, this is a modified version of the bike from the Chase. Is it the Chasing with Owen Grady? There's a version of the bike which comes with a piece that goes here for his rifle, but it is essentially the same looking bike. It's been modified to attach these gimmick parts. So there's a missile launch gimmick on one side and just plugs in. It does ratchet into place, and then you have this claw arm attachment which goes in. The claw comes out, it can be rotated around. There is a, get this done on camera, there is a pincher, but it's just kind of like friction. It's done with the plastic, so I would have imagined over time that will wear out and snap eventually when you're constantly moving this thing. There's also a kickstand on the bike, so it does stand like that, which isn't too bad. And then for the main thing in the pack is Nedry himself. So I'm going to take his gear off. I would stress be careful taking his gear on and off. I'll show why in a second. Once I pop this off. So he comes with this really cool gas, it looks like a flamethrower backpack. It has a gas mask piece that's attached to the neck area, which is cool, but a little bit of a shame, but I understand why they did it because it's such a small part. And then this is the figure himself. So if you're wondering why he doesn't look anything like he does, here's what he looked like in the movies. And you can see they kind of reused, I think they reused the same head. It is just like, I think this is the legacy version head. because this is the Hammond collection. I can't find one of my... I should have at least one of the Legacy collection figures, because I got one with the Wrangler set, the Jeep Wrangler, and the Dilophosaur set. And for the most part, he is a reuse of parts. So for the most part, originally I thought he was a reuse of this guy from the promo images. I think the arms are reused, because you can see he still has that kind of band or watch or whatever it is. He's done in a much more lighter skin tone to match Nedry's skin tone. And then I thought he might have been reused from this guy as well, but I think it's his legs are a reuse of the body of the kind of mercenary, but the upper torso is a reuse of the the hardest to get one, which is the pilot from the Destructosaur set, which is done as a, was it the containment team? What were they called again? AC, Animal Control Unit, ACU. So I think the body is off the ACU pilot. So it has these pockets. He has this kind of orange vest on. And if you're wondering why he looks, again, almost different to his original counterpart, which I do actually have for comparison time, which is this guy. Here he is with his original Kenner figure. This is the first version of Dennis Nedry to come out from the Jurassic Park line way back in '93. So he does have that gas mask, but it is a removable separate piece. And the gimmick with this guy, which they didn't do on this, which would have been fun, is he has removable dino damage arms. And he had a water squirting backpack. Fortunately, the water squirting part is not working on mine. The hose on this was very manky, and I tried cleaning it and ended up getting some cotton bud stuck in there while I was trying to push it down to clean it, and unfortunately it has jammed his water squirting backpack. But you can see how they kept the similarities between the gear and the figure, which is kind of cool. They did give him his more Kenner inspired look with the shirt. It's not quite the same. I thought they might do something similar like what they did with Ian Malcolm here. They might have given him this kind of look, except with the longer sleeves, but they didn't. They opted for this kind of tank top almost look to him, which isn't too bad. Again, as I said, stress putting on the helmet piece, because, or just when you're putting on this neck piece, it is a gummy pliable plastic, so it should fit around the head easily enough, but just be aware that you could pop those glasses off. They are a small part. They are only glued to the head, so they are a separate piece, but you can gear him up and have him holding his flamethrower / water tank thing, which is actually a better, he holds it better than his original counterpart does. He is quite nicely done, and he does have all the articulation as the Legacy collection, so they don't have the wrists and they don't have the boots, but they have arms can go around, head is on a ball joint. He does have the waist swivel, single joint elbow with its swivel. He can do splits that much. He does have the kick forward. He has the single jointed knee with its swivel, and the lightness to Wayne Knight is actually quite good. It has all the Nedry figures do actually look like Wayne Knight did from the original movie, so it is kind of cool to see. And just for a size comparison, because I have a bunch here with me, I'm going to move his original counterpart out of the way, and we'll get on to the Velociraptor last. So here is one of the mercenary figures. Now, I will say he does have a customized head. You will probably recognize who the head is off when I stand this guy up. So here he is next to the 93 line Alan Grant, and here he is next to his other wave mate, the 93 Ian Malcolm. So the Alan Grant figure is based on his original Jurassic Park figure, not the Jurassic Park 3 figure, whereas the Ian Malcolm is part of a glider set, and it's actually based on his Lost World, Jurassic Park Lost World appearance, as opposed to his original figure, because he didn't actually have a figure in the original line. He never actually had a figure. The original figure line for the Kenner series was Ellie Sattler, Alan Grant, Robert Muldoon, Dennis Nedry, and Tim Murphy. And I believe that was it. There might have been an extra person added in for Series 2. I think there was a Trapper guy added in for Series 2. But the original lineup was, there was no Hammond, there was no Lex, there was no Ray Arnold, and there was no Dr. Boo, and there was no Ian Malcolm, which was a glaring omission on Kenner's part, because Ian was quite a popular character. So maybe they didn't think he'd be as popular as he would. And there was no Gennaro either. The blood-sucking lawyer, as Hammond said in the movie. So that brings us to Mr. Velociraptor, or Miss Velociraptor, because all the Velociraptors in Jurassic, or all the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park were female. Although this is based on Jurassic Park 3 Velociraptors, and there was male ones in that. So it could be male Velociraptor, it could be female. They didn't specify on the packaging, and it's up to your interpretation, I suppose. Although I think the male ones had the little quill bits on them, whereas this one doesn't have it. But it is a very nicely done Velociraptor. I believe it is a reuse, again, of an existing mold. So it's a fairly basic articulation on this guy. So it is, the head is on a swivel with a hinge, the jaw hinges open, the arms can move forward, and can't quite get a full 180 on them, but you can move them up and move them down. Legs again move forward, you could probably get 180 on the legs, not quite. You can get some posability on the legs. There is a tail swivel, but I think it's more for where it just attaches onto the dinosaur. And again, just as I said, on the dinosaur app, if you have it, you can scan the QR code thing, or whatever you want to call it, a scan code, and it gives you a scan of the dinosaur, and you can mess around with that. So all in all, it is not a bad set. I'll just bring in his motorbike. Just one thing to note on the motorbike, so on the footwells, there isn't any foot pegs for his feet to peg into, but he does sit comfortably enough on it, and it is a nicely done little motorbike. Unfortunately, I don't have my my previous version of that bike to hand. And just for another dinosaur comparison, because if people as old as me, or nearly as old as me, remember the original file card that came with the Dennis Nedry set, or the Dennis Nedry figure, you will remember that on the file card there was these guys, the Dilophosaurs, because he's on the file card, if I remember correctly, it's been a while since I've seen it, it shows an image of him sitting at his computer desk, and behind him there's, I think, 3 Dilophosaurs sneaking up behind him. And it is interesting that they didn't pack him in with another Dilophosaur, but we already got a Jurassic Park homage Dilophosaurus in the Ian Malcolm set, which is kind of interesting because that set is based on a movie where you didn't see any Dilophosaurus at all, but it is based on the Kenner figure, so it is a welcome addition to the set. So if you're a fan of the old vintage Jurassic Park line, these are really cool sets. I do hope they continue. What I would love to see, I'm not sure if they'll do it, one of the vehicles that they haven't repainted that did have a Kenner figure, or a Kenner version, if you want to call it, was the Jeep Wrangler. It was called the Bushwhacker Devil Jeep. It had something similar to this on the side, except it was a loop for basically capturing dinosaurs. It had a missile thing as well, so they could easily incorporate those into it. And it had that extending chair thing, so if they retooled that Jeep that came with the Jurassic World set, they might be able to do something with that and retool it to fit the Jeep Wrangler and have that side section that pops out and had the little controller on it for capturing the dinosaurs. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed me waffling on. So this is a good set. It is hitting target. I do not know if it will appear over here in Europe, in the Smiths in Europe, or in Ireland for that matter. So if you can get it from the States, I know you have to pay a premium for getting it from the States. I would recommend trying getting it if you're someone who lives here in Ireland and you enjoy watching my videos and you have what's called Address Pal. That is actually reasonably enough. That's how I ended up, how I got mine. I use it's run by An Post. It is their own service, so it comes direct to your door. You do have to pay a small surcharge for when things get shipped, but it's to help people who want to buy stuff from the States, that if you're buying stuff from a seller or retailer that only ships within the States, it gives you a PO box to ship it to, and then you get it shipped straight to your door, which is actually quite handy. I have managed to get a few things, mostly some of the Target exclusives or Walmart exclusives. Again, you do pay a small premium for it, but it is something that works out in the long run. So there you go, guys. I hope I'm going to wrap this up here, and hopefully you will enjoy this video. And if you do, please help support my channel and hit like, subscribe, and help my channel grow. I would love to see if I can hit a 5k subscription base by the end of the summer. At the moment, I'm at 3.5. Well, not 3.5, 3 and a bit. So I really want to push to get that extra subscription base, just to see if I can hit it. I know my videos aren't the best out there. Hopefully people enjoy them. But as always, like, comment, and subscribe, and enjoy your day. And thanks for watching to the end. Cheers, guys.